All right, welcome back to another episode of Launching Us. This is a podcast where we talk about us becoming small business owners and kind of the journey it takes to get there. And this week we had a pretty good episode. We're talking about tackling the task together.
Yes.
We've been on this journey for at least
a couple months
now. We've been in a new stage where you're no longer employed, you are self-employed and pursuing that whole journey. And so our life has really been kind of crazy.
It has gotten really crazy in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited though for the next set of videos that are going to be coming out for this podcast, because we've got some amazing things prepared for you guys. We've been really intentional in thinking how and where we want the podcast to go. And
just really being in foresight, like trying to think ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a couple of guest speakers that we're going to be having on pretty soon.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about their journey about becoming small business owners, maybe some of the steps they had in that journey, maybe what plans they had. We'll figure it out. We got some cool questions. And then that's going to be really fun because they're good friends of mine. They're photographers. And so we're just really excited about that. And we might be getting another podcast person on here and kind of get his thoughts or her thoughts, depending on which one of them does it. And so we just have some pretty cool ideas that we really want to do. But it kind of comes back to us.
Yeah.
And tackling the task together.
Absolutely.
And so when you think of that term, babe, tackling the task together, what something comes to mind for you? Like what's something that you think of when you hear tackling the task together?
I feel like ideally people think that tackling a task together would be like you take one part of the task and I take the other part of the task and then we just kind of work together on making it great. Like we do that as well. But when I think that the thing that we're strongest at is because we're married, because we own our own business, we also have children, we have full lives. So, alongside of our business, right? And so one of the things that I think we do really well is manage. One of us tackles taking care of the kids or taking them out of the house, so that, because if you don't know, our studio is in our home. And we have,
so this is technically our dining room table and that is a TV is our living room TV. And so
actually, but this whole space
converts into a studio
really quickly.
Yeah. We just dropped a music video that I did with our sister-in-law. And that was done right here in this space. A lot of the photo shoots that we've done here for the Christmas minis, things like that, that's done right here in the space. Off to this side here, we have a paper backdrop. And so this whole space literally becomes a big studio for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that we work really well on not only the tackling, like for the Christmas minis where I was assisting you, or when we do baby shoots and I'm the person who gets the babies excited and you're the shooter. I think we also work really well with our family. Like if you need quiet in the house, I'm taking the kids out. If we have weddings booked back to back to back, I'm taking care of kids so that you can go with the second shooter or with our freelancer and go to the weddings. So it's really being intentional on the way we're working together.
Yeah. I think when it comes to this term, I always think about this quote. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I definitely think that speaks a volume on us. Sometimes when it's just me and I need to do something, I can do it all by myself and I can let it go and I can get things done real fast. But for this business and for what we have planned, it's not about going fast. It's about going far. It's about longevity. It's about sustainability. It's about making it something that could be repeatable, measurable. You know, we can actually keep it a record of things to see how things going. There's something that we can actually like chart and say, hey, this is where we're progressing. This is where we're progressing. And I've always found that to be a very true thing for me. I love working in teams. I love working with a group of people. I love working with a bunch of creatives that are just wanting to build something different. And so that's something that I think we just kind of talked about recently, is like, I'm a very creative mindset, which we already knew that. And you're a very analytic type of mindset. And that's going to be really cool for our business. And we were just really kind of diving deep in that with potentials of wedding venues coming up or whatever. And there's just that cool conversation that we had. And then I was reading a book and it was kind of talking about that same concept. But like, as a team, we could do so much more. And it's so much better in a team. We get feedback. We get, a lot of the videos are things that I do. I'm always showing you because I want your thought process on it. I want to see if it gives you those feels. And if it gives you feels, then I know it's going to give other people feels.
Yeah.
But in this way, it seems like as a business, it's really kind of like sharing the range.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I know weekends are real big right now for you because you're studying, you're so close on taking your exam for your real estate license. And I know you have a lot of people that are waiting for you and like waiting for this to happen. And so like, I'm excited for that. And because I'm excited for you and I want you to succeed, when it's those Saturdays or those weeknights that you're studying and you really need to focus, I take the kids and I kind of focus on that. I tackle bedtime, I tackle lunch, or I'll tackle whatever. And then you jump in like normal, Yeah. And, our kids are so sweet because they'll tell us, Dad, are you working a lot today? Or Mom, are you studying a lot? And it's more like, you could do it. They're proud of us because they see us chasing for something. But also we make sure we do a really good job on showing them that we value them.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I love about when we're talking about tackling things as a team. I think that you and I are really good about tackling our family quality time together. So again, like we share the load, right?
For sure.
This is our business and we're committed to it, but also quality time with our family is important.
Yeah.
There's a difference between time with your family and quality time with your family. Quality time looks like you're asking questions at the dinner table and you're finding out about each other's day. Time with your family could look like everybody's on their phone and iPads while everyone's eating dinner and no one says anything to each other, and so we are really intentional about spending quality time with our kids. We have like literally set times in the day that our kids know that we are going to be with them and very intentional. So that's like in the morning, we're getting them ready. We're having conversations with them about how their day is going to go and things that they should be aware of for that day. When they get out of school, they know Mom and Dad are going to do homework with them. And from the moment they get home until 5:30, there's no TV, there's no music, nothing. It is doing homework. And if you don't have homework, it's reading.
Yeah.
And they know every night, no matter what happens, they're going to get into bed and Mom and Dad are going to kiss them goodnight and read them a book. And
possibly read them a book. I didn't read them a book last night because they didn't go to 4
nights out of the week. We are reading books.
My justification is that they didn't go to school yesterday because so-and-so was sick. And so I was like, you got to stay home, watch some YouTube, got to hang out while Mom studied. You don't need a book tonight. You good. But no, I think you're right. I think that's something that I find very important. Obviously, we're switching roles back and forth from parent to boss or student or whatever it is. We're switching those roles, but it's also really important for us. And I think we do this really well. There's always things for improvement, but I think we do this really well on stepping in on time of need. When I know that you're busy and I see it in your face, and you've been away from the kids, or you've been away from me all week or a couple of days, but you're so close on finishing it and I can see the stress. I really try to step in and make sure that you feel loved, that you are, that you know that we understand, that we care for you, that it's not like Mom just abandoning us. Like, we take the time to really step in those times of needs because because you're goal oriented. So you're going for something for that goal. And if I don't take the time to just show you, hey, I love you, here's a cup of tea, here's some food, here's something, and I bring it to your table while we eat over here at another table, like stepping in those times of needs are so important, because I would imagine that it gives you that feeling of, they do love me. They do see what I'm doing. They're taking care of me. This is good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it also is like that. Oh, thank God I don't have to feed the kids.
Yeah.
like it's covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same thing, like we were talking about earlier about you, is like when it comes to like, I mean, like going back to the business, like if you are at a wedding with a second shooter, or like it's about that balance, right? So we are always covering each other, because this is our business. This is a dream. This is becoming our reality. And it's a wonderful reality, and we want to invest our time into it, but we also want to be really intentional with our family and with all the other areas of our life. And I love how, I love how you and I can always we can always juggle. Hey, this is what you're doing today. This is what I'm doing today. Hey, I need you to help me with the photo shoot. Okay. We need to make appropriate plans for the kids. And then you and I can just full focus on here. And I think that goes back to something I said in one of the first podcasts, was like, having very intentional conversations with your family and friends who are going to be your go-to people, especially in these seasons where you can't afford to hire a full-time or part-time, full-time or a part-time employee. We have contractors, but could we afford to hire a full-time? Not at this point.
No, but even our contractors are sometimes busy. Like they're booked because they're contractors.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I mean, like our family allows us to work in a partnership. You know what I mean? And so being really intentional about like those relationships.
Yeah. I think the good thing for us too is that we always step in on time of needs. We always fill those roles to kind of help each other out, because we see the bigger picture in things. Like you and I both see the big picture in the future for our kids, the future for our business, what we both desire for us. And because we took the time to do a business plan and kind of went over the steps and did all the things, we have a big dream that's in front of us that we're saying, hey, this is what we're shooting for. Might be really rough right now. It might be really tight right now.
We might be a little exhausted right now.
We 100% might be a little exhausted. And there's definitely times where we're saying no to certain scenarios. There's a lot of things I volunteer in or I help out. And I've said no. There's even at my job, if we have something coming up, I'm saying no because I have a job booked that weekend. I can't do two things. And so there's definitely times where we're saying no, but strategically, no. It's not just, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything.
No.
It's, I want to give my 100% effort to this, and I want to give my 100% effort to this. And so because we're that type of person of excellency, we want to give each role that excellency. And so because of that, we're able to say no in times when to say no. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to something for whatever reason it might be, as long as it's intentional. It's not just no for no, but there's intentionality behind it. And so for us, like, it's been really, really, really big for us to kind of see that big picture.
So, for our listeners who are the individuals who are watching us today, what are 3 things that you would say, like tips that you would say on how to collaborate with their partners?
I would say the number one thing is, don't take those times where we're intentional personal. Just because you're working and you're studying 12-hour days and you're doing something, and then you get up and you go do something else, and I've been like waiting to hang out with you, or the kids have been waiting for hanging out with you, I say don't take those personal. The goal is that we're pushing for something and we're striving for something. And if I begin to start taking that personally. Yeah. If I begin to take that personally as like, oh, she just doesn't want to be with us. That kind of starts throwing a wrench in what we actually want to do.
Yeah.
And the goal is that we're doing this because we want more time. with each other, with our family. We want to be more intentional on giving. There's a reason why we're doing this. And so I think that would be my one, is just don't take it personal. Yeah. What would be your number two? What would you think be the number two thing?
I would definitely say communication. There's a calendar in our house, and we actually write down all of the jobs that we have coming up. And they're all listed on the calendar. Any big events that we might have, we put them on the calendar.
Any shoots, even like
meetings that
kids
we
get
have.
off of early from school. Yeah. All
Everything
kinds of stuff.
is placed
So
on
no
the
one
calendar.
gets left. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's really amazing. Also, one of the things that I absolutely love that we do, at the beginning of each day, Juan and I, and I feel like we just started doing this without realizing it. And it just kind of became part of our day, was like, hey, what are we doing today? Like, what's today going to look like for you? Because even if it's on the calendar, like sometimes, things, go past. So it's like we're having like a meeting every morning, and just talking about what we have that day to make sure that we're both on the same page. So communication, communicate what projects, what things that you're doing regularly with your partner, to make sure that you guys are complementing each other well.
Yeah. The third tip I would say is off the book that you gave us. I would say you gave me to read because you already read it. Was, I think, what is it? The Secret Mindset of a Millionaire. I believe that's what it is one of the tips that they had on there is plan for fun days. Yeah. Have budget set aside. If it's $100 out of the month that you saved up, or $200, whatever the money that you set aside, whatever percentage that you put, if it's 10%, then out of your check, whatever you get, set that aside and use it for fun. And we've been intentional, not 100% intentional on this, but we've been pretty intentional where we after church or after something, we take the kids to the movies, we go hang out, we feed them, we do all kinds of stuff that you would normally do, like on a date night or a family day. And whatever we spend, we don't think about it. And that was the idea, is that he was talking about, like, save up that 10% and at the end of the month, blow it all. What's the point of working this hard if you're not able to have fun? Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that was really like shocking to me to hear from the book, is because I would imagine that his concept would be save, let's save. But for him to say, let's set aside 10%, let's set aside 5% of every paycheck or of every investment that you make, everything that you have, you're setting money aside to simply blow it. So at the end of the month, if you have your fun bank and you're spending $500 on fun or shopping or whatever your outlet is. For us, it's hanging out as a family, going to the movies, eating dinner, something really nice, and we blow it. Yeah. And that's been really freeing for me because I hate spending money. I'm so freaking cheap. That'd be a great time to say thank you to Amigos para Todos podcast for letting me borrow his mic setup and his Rodecaster, because I wasn't going to buy one yet. And so I'm really cheap, and cheap sounds so bad, but I'm very precautious on spending money, especially a lot of money. And so, but having that really frees me up to be like, yeah, that's what this money's for. Yeah. So and I think that also adds to when we're talking about working together, I think that also adds like this sense of like partnership, right? So if you go and you set you've made so much money that month, and then you set apart a certain amount of money that you can spend as a business for your staff or for the partners, or however, it adds like this camaraderie within the staff, right? And so I really agree on that. Like, I think that that treating the individuals who are working so hard is important. Yeah. I think the last thing that I would like to talk about in this episode is one of the concepts that I literally just learned from one of the meetings I was in this week. It was about a photographer who took a photo of two zebras, and the zebras were resting each other's head on each other's back. So they were standing and they were just resting their head on each other's back. And the idea is that these zebras were tired. They're exhausted from the day or whatever. Zebras don't lay down to nap. They rest on each other. And the reason they do this is that they're ready if a prey comes to attack them. They're always ready if in case, but they use each other in times of rest. And I think that's very important for us that we use each other for times of rest. When we're exhausted, we can hold hands right here. We use each other for times of rest. You know, we lean on each other. We put our burdens on each other. If you're feeling something, you express it to me. If I'm feeling something, I try to express it because I'm not great at it. But we do that. And I thought that was such a great concept hearing about this photographer who took that photo and acknowledged that these zebras use each other in times of stress to keep them safe when they're exhausted from any type of prey. And anybody who's starting a business, anybody who's doing anything, know that there's distractions, there are obstacles, there are always something that comes your way. So having a business partner that really you can lean on is really, really important. So that could be your wife, it could be your best friend, it could be whoever you're going into business with. And even in that book, they talk about where some of the greatest companies started with a few guys in a garage. These guys, depending on each other, they lean on each other, they created together. And so whatever you're building, whatever thing you're striving to get for, do it with a team, do it with somebody that you care about. Because again, you can go fast by yourself or you can go really far as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that zebra analogy.
We get to lean on each other.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I really love is that a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, and I believe on Facebook as well, we posted Q&A, like any questions that anyone wanted to ask us, to please just post it. And we had some really cool questions, that were submitted. So we're going to answer those here today.
And so one of the questions they asked is what stopped us from starting our business a few years ago? And I know for me personally, just fear and a lack of knowledge, because I wasn't too knowledgeable on what I wanted to do, on how to do it. I think that really stopped me from really pursuing it as a business. And so I can't think of another reason that stopped me other than that, because I had equipment. I had things I needed. I think a friend of mine just asked me because I let him borrow one of my old cameras and like, you just had this lying around? I was like, yeah, like I had a bunch of gear. And so I let him use an old camera that I have. And so I just think it's looking at it now, it was foolish for me not to start this 3-5 years ago. Because we had the time, we had the ability, and we had everything we needed. There wasn't really anything I was missing.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was my biggest thing on why I didn't do it. I think it was a lack of confidence and just knowledge. What about you?
Again, I'm a perfectionist. And so I wanted to wait till everything was perfect to do it. And then a lot of fear of what people were going to say. What if I didn't succeed? I was already well known in the work that I was doing. I already had a lot of, I was very far along in my career path. So the fear of starting over in a new career path was a little frightening for me. And then also it goes back to like the fear of like what people were going to say. Yeah. Which, I think is pretty awesome to think of like where we are now.
Yeah.
It's actually not as scary as it
isn't. It's not as scary as all. I mean, it's still work. But that's why I think looking at it now, I was like, man, I'm so foolish for not starting it.
Yeah.
The second question is that if you can go back in that past, what would you tell yourself to start? So I'll let you answer this one first. If you can go back in the past and tell past Rose, you should start this, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself,
just do it.
Just freaking do it. I think I would just tell myself a couple of things. I think I would tell myself, Rose, just do it. And then I think I would tell myself, Rose, stop listening to people who have no idea what they're talking about, and focus on what you want to do and not on what other people are telling you.
Yeah.
Because they have no clue. And then I think the other thing that I would tell myself is it's okay to be scared, but it's not okay to not. It's okay to be scared, but it's not okay to live your life in fear.
Yeah.
And I lived wanting so badly to do things, and I lived in fear of failure. And because I was afraid of failure and what people would say, I didn't do them, which is dumb, because most of the time, and I'm sorry, this is me patting myself on the back. Most of the time when I set my mind to something, I'm damn good at it.
Yeah.
I learn really quickly, and I adapt really quickly.
Yeah.
And so I think to myself, man, that was so dumb.
Yeah. I think if I can go back in the past and tell myself, honestly, yeah, I would have told myself, hey, you need to do this. Like you are more than capable to do this. Like if I can go like in my head, if I can just get into a time machine, jump in the past, see thinner, younger Juan and say, hey, don't eat so much bluebell ice cream and Whataburger. You'll stay thin. 2, read some books, man. Like read the books, because they're going to give you confidence. They're going to give you the knowledge. Look for help, but also listen to your wife. She knows what she's talking about. She's been telling you to do this and you haven't done it. Just sack up and do it. And I think the last thing I would have I would have told myself, like in a reality world, because obviously we can't go back in the past. I would just tell myself, like, in due time, you're going to get it. Like, don't stress about it. Yeah, I know you want more in life. Don't stress about it. What's the old saying? When the student is ready, the master will appear. Mm-hmm. And I think about that's what it is for us. Finally, we were both ready. We're both on the same mindset. And it's not that the master appeared. It's just the opportunity and the dream finally aligned and said, you can do it. And we finally did it. Yeah. Because I think if we would have started younger, well, there's probably a lot more mistakes we would have done. There's probably a lot more things we would have messed up on. There were still things that as a married couple, we were still dealing with and going through. And so we needed to work through those things. And so like, I think for us, it worked out at the right time. It's just, man, we would have been so much further along if we would have started years ago. Yeah. But again, it just goes back to the idea. I think I had to burp. I think it just goes back to the idea that we had to wait until we were both ready. Yeah. And so we just want to thank everybody for watching this week's episode. Stay tuned for the next week. We have some amazing guests coming, so be on the lookout for those. But again, thank you so much for just watching Launching Us. We hope that you like this, subscribe, leave some comments below. We love reading your comments. And then all the text message or Instagram messages that I give people, like screenshotting their TVs. Thank you. And so here's a moment. Take a time right now. If you're watching this on your TV, go ahead and take this photo. There you go. Send that to me. But thank you guys so much. We love all the comments. We love all the support. And so have a good week.